Hello, I'm Jamie Shibley, CEO of the Expressory. Today, I want to dig into podcast nurturing. So, nurturing your guests after they've been on a podcast. But I want to take a bit of a different angle. So, you've probably heard us talk about if you use your podcast as a bit of a Trojan horse for sales, right? So, you bring guests on the podcast and then you identify those that would make great clients, and you put some time in to consistently nurture those relationships. That is one approach to leveraging your podcast for business building. But there's another side of that. We've had people say, yeah, but my podcast isn't about, it isn't meant to bring in clients. That's not why we're doing the podcast. Actually, what's happening is this podcast is maybe a community builder, right? And so, what we want to talk about today is how are you still developing relationships with your guests after the fact, after they've been on your show, so that you can build that thriving community? Because there is still a lot of value in being intentional about the relationships you have with those guests. So I recently had a chance to interview Drew McClellan. If you know Drew, he is the he is the owner of AMI, Agency Management Institute. Extremely well known in the agency space, has been doing this for many years, and he owned an agency of his own as well. And he has run a podcast for AMI they're going on 400 episodes, he said. And he was one of the first people who developed this approach that after he interviews someone, they receive a gift, which is a quote card, right? They find something valuable, quotable that the guest said during the interview. They create a nice print and they frame it and they send it to the guest. And I asked him, is this helping? Is it because you're nurturing potential leads? And he said this has nothing to do with the business building. For them, the ROI is in building the community. And what he shared is that you never know, these guests, they might be willing to do webinars for the community. They might become sponsors of his AMI conference or other events. But most of all, what he's doing is he's developing relationships. He's learning from these people, but he's developing relationships so that he can make trusted referrals. That community is known for, hey, I got a guy that can help you with that. And they also, these guests, they are directing people that they're meeting to the community, and it just serves to create this thriving environment that people want to be a part of. So there's huge return on that investment. Every one of those 400 guests has received a follow-up gift from Drew, and you can tell. I mean, it's not the only reason that community is a wonderful resource, but I mean, you could tell what the value that it brings in. So, when people ask us, yes, but why would I do that when this podcast isn't meant to bring in clients? Well, there is still huge value in nurturing those relationships because you never know what the next opportunity that relationship could lead to. So hopefully this is giving you some food for thought if you are a podcast host and you are considering, how do you continue to leverage this in a greater way? Reach out if you want to continue to have this conversation. I'm always here to chat. Thanks.